Hello, friends. Ipswich Town have made another signing. 16 now they've made this summer. Sounds incredible. We're here to talk about that. My name is Mark Heath. With me, Andy Warren, to break down the signing of Tom Carroll. Andy, a name that just a few years ago, if Ipswich Town had signed Tom Carroll, there would be a lot more excitement than there probably is at the moment, because not too long ago, he was being talked about as the next Luka Modric, changing hands for 4.5 million, Spurs to Swansea. And making his debut in the Europa League, a very, very promising young talent back then, had some injury problems and has now found himself signing for Ipswich Town. What do you make of this one? It's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, in terms of a name, it's as high a profile as they've done this summer. But as you've just, there's one reason why he's playing in League One and one reason why he's playing at Ipswich Town, and that's injuries. They've bitten him throughout his career. There's been hip injuries. There's been a knee injury that cost him last season. What was actually starting off to be a really quite good, consistent season for him at QPR ended with a knee problem. So that's why he's here, and it's also why he's only signed a 1-year contract. But on the face of things, he's clearly a player with real ability, and he's arrived in a position where they desperately needed bodies and quality bodies at that. And if he's fit, it's hard to say he isn't a quality body in there for Ipswich.
He's got pedigree written all over him, hasn't he? Played Premier League Championship most of his career. He will obviously come in and contend for those deep midfield roles, will he, alongside Harper and Evans? Is that where he's going to fit in this side?
Yeah, he's left-footed, so there's a good blend there. He's essentially had his place taken in the QPR squad this summer by Andre Dazelle, so it's a little bit of a trade in that regard. He's something of a kind of a facilitator. From everything I've seen of Carroll over the years, he's something of a facilitator, kind of good in tight areas, good touch, good pass, help the ball on for others, move the team around the pitch, not necessarily producing goals and assists left, right and centre, but that's kind of what Cook wants from his midfielders, that the shouts have changed the play. They're still echoing out from the dugout, and he can do that. That's for sure. He can get on the ball and move it around. But the big thing from here is the fitness. In terms of league starts, he's only made more than 20 in a season twice during a career that kind of goes back the best part of a decade. So that's the real issue for him. But on the face of things, if they can keep him fit, get him playing, there's some real quality competition there for Evans and Harper, who have felt like a really established midfield duo since they've arrived. So they could probably do with that little bit of competition in there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, because Evans is obviously the skipper, very much one of the first names on the team sheet, and Harper the same. They're a very established duo already. So I guess starting out at least with the fitness questions as well, Carroll's probably going to be mainly used as backup, isn't he? But as you say, signing a 1-year deal, very much an opportunity for him to kind of turn his career around.
Just needs to play. It was going well for him at QPR last season. The first half of the campaign, he played in 22 league games. I think the vast majority of those were starts as well. That's what he wanted. He was at a place where he's comfortable. I mentioned those league seasons of 20 or more starts. One of the two that he has had in the league, that was at QPR in 2013-14, I think it was. You'll forgive me if that year's slightly out, but he was there on loan from Spurs and enjoyed himself, and they enjoyed him. I think he was enjoying being back there last season, and sadly, I think it was a knee injury that kind of hit him there, and that's the big thing. Keep players like this fit, and we've seen it before, haven't we, with players at Ipswich Town, like Emir Hughes. Keep him fit, and he's a good player. It didn't happen. So, in terms of pedigree, quality, he's clearly got it. Whether he can stay fit remains to be seen. Hopefully he does, and if he does that, he's going to be giving the two that are in there right now the toughest of runs for their money in terms of their places in the team, and that's exactly what a promotion chasing side need.
Okay, that's signing number 16, Andy. That sounds an incredible number to be discussing at Ipswich Town in the summer. They've now got in competition at centre mid. They've got the centre half as well. Burgess coming in, going to start tomorrow. Are there still holes for you that need filling? Do they need a bit more depth anywhere else? Do they need more midfielders, for example?
I wouldn't go as far as saying they're holes now. I think the holes are plugged pending fitness. I would say there were maybe some vacancies within the squad in terms of some depth. It wouldn't shock me if there was another right back brought in, for example, but one that's designed to come in and be kind of a younger one, challenging Vincent Young, Burns, Donatian potentially, depending on what job Janoi is asked to do. Another midfielder, wouldn't necessarily expect it to now be somebody who you're hoping would really be challenging for a first team spot. I think that's going to be hard to do because there are three into two already. To bring in another one's tough, but they're light on midfielders in terms of the squad in general. John Nolan hasn't trained under Paul Cook yet, and that goes back to March. So for him, the road's got a bit longer with Tom Carroll coming in. If some other youngsters go out on loan, maybe some others will come in. I think they're fine for left backs now. They're sorted there. They've got the 4 centre backs, assuming Toto's fit. Donatian's one in there. They've got 2 goalkeepers. So unless they suddenly decide to move Holy on, if they're able to move Holy on, someone else comes in. But in terms of, I'm not going to say they're done because it's August the 16th and they've done 16 transfers by August the 16th. But I'd be amazed if there isn't at least one more coming through the door. But I think in terms of necessity, we're reaching the point where the squad is built. They just all need to be fit now.
Yeah. And how crazy is it, Andy, if you're talking about 16 signings being made in a summer at Ipswich Town? Obviously, we know they lost a lot of players, but to bring 16 in, it is fairly extraordinary, isn't it?
It is, but they had to do it. They set themselves on this course. I think it was back in the first Monday, second Monday of May, where they where Demolition Man finally blew up and dispensed of so many and told so many others that they were free to move on. That's all come to pass. Wouldn't be surprised if there is still some more to move on from last season's squad. I think that's entirely possible, but they had to do it. They set themselves on this path, and they've to their credit, they've gone out and done the deals, and they've done the deals in a timely manner. The last thing that Mark Ashton wants is to be scrambling around finishing the rebuild job on this squad coming up to the 27th, 28th, 29th of August. So I think they'll be pleased with how quickly they've built the shell, the solid skeleton of this squad, and put it together. But it's a course they set themselves on at the start of May, so they had to do it.
And now it's just about finding the right blend, isn't it? Finding the right pieces, getting them in the right roles, and away we go, hopefully. Yeah,
they've. I think you can see, and this hasn't necessarily been the case in transfer windows past with Ipswich. You can see where each of these players fit. You can see they've brought in a certain type of midfielder. The fullbacks they've brought in play the game a certain way. In Edmondson and Burgess, they brought in certain kind of centre backs to play Paul Cook's football. So in that regard, the recruitment has been kind of on point. They've recruited what they've needed to recruit. They've not just brought in players, bodies, names. They've brought in the right ones for the system. So you're right. It's all about now finding the blend, particularly in the attacking areas. Because I think, to be quite honest, I think a lot of the defensive ones sort of blend themselves, if that makes sense. You look at it and you can see that probably Edmondson and Burgess are going to be the centre half pairing. I think Coulson is, over time, will become the first choice left back. I still think Evans and Harper are going to prove to be the two in central midfield, and that's all going to pick itself. It's then at the top end of the pitch where the players are a bit more interchangeable. They can all play in different positions within that kind of front four unit. That's where I think they really need to find their blends now, because there are a lot of players in there, all very flexible. They just need to put them together and get them firing.
Time will tell. Okay, then Tom Carroll is signing number 16 of a summer like no other at Ipswich Town. Could be a tremendous signing if, and it's a big if he can stay fit. We'll catch you next time.